what has happened. Because remember, when you're dealing with assets, the valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's a struggle. Yeah. So there are strategies everywhere from £50 a week up to £100 million, and they're different. Right? They range differently from everyone, but and from country to country, to be fair. Different countries have different tax laws, so with different vehicles. But from your point of view, at the sort of normal end, I'm not going to call it the low end because I'm in that boat as well. It's as tax efficient as you can get it. That's where you start. You use all the tax efficiencies, and then you step up into different things.
Welcome back to the show. It's your girl Sarah right here on Relaks Radio. And I'm super excited to be here because, we're having a very important and interesting conversation, I might add, with regard to vaccines, PCR tests, the latest coronavirus developments in the United Kingdom, essentially, all right? So that is what the conversation is about. So if you want to find out more, if you want to stay updated and informed about everything that we're going to be talking about, make sure to text me or call me on 078-52-473-473. Share your thoughts, share your opinions, because that will be absolutely amazing as well, all right? So don't forget to do that. And now, before we actually head into the conversation, I want to very quickly remind you that you can, in fact, go like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and even TikTok, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, because that will actually help you stay informed and stay updated and be notified about everything that we talk about, all right? So make sure to do that. And, obviously, it's pretty interesting and, informative as well, because especially in this day and age, because time is passing by so fast and so many things are happening in the world, it's always best for you to find a way to make sure you're updated, all right? So the best way for you to obviously do that is by tuning into Relaks Radio, all right? So don't forget to do that. And obviously, something else that you can do is to go download the app, because that's available on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. And that way you can actually make sure that you download the app for free, and you're listening in from anywhere in the world at any time of the day while you're doing whatever it is you're doing. So that's how easy it is. Don't forget to do that, and don't forget to share your thoughts, share your opinions, because that would actually help all, not just you and me, but also all of your friends and family as well. All right. And before we actually head into the conversation, I want to remind you once again to text me, call me on 078-52-473, because I would love to hear what you have to say. All right. And now let's actually head into our conversation, because we're going to be talking about vaccines and PCR tests. All right. So to talk about vaccines and to talk about PCR tests, now we have this whole question of, is the world running out of booster vaccines? What exactly is going on? And is the world running out of vaccines? Not booster vaccines, but rather, is the world running out of vaccines? What are we going to do if in the instance we do run out of vaccines? And how exactly are we going to move forward, right? Because we don't really have that much of protection against COVID-19 if we don't have the vaccine, right? And obviously, the newest variants are in fact much dangerous and much more scarier than the previous variants, right? The Delta variant is spreading really fast all around the world, and people haven't been vaccinated, and it's in fact much more deadly, right? Because the rate of death for the Delta variant is so much higher than for the initial COVID-19 variant that was there. All right. And with that, we have this question of, is the world running out of vaccines? What are we going to do if the world runs out of vaccines? So that is, in fact, the question that is there. All right. And obviously now there's a lot of scientists out there who are trying to reduce the dosage of the booster vaccine. They're trying to give half of the dosage, so that way it will actually increase your immunity, but also reduce the side effects that you would have from the vaccine. All right, now if you're going to be concerned, or if you're concerned, or if you're really angry at this as well, don't worry, because the truth is there have been so many other instances in the world when we didn't have enough vaccines and we used half of the dose, or half of what we would normally give. Now these are referred to as fractional doses, and these things happen very, very commonly. All right. So the truth is that this is currently in the process of being researched. It is still something that is in the works, and obviously until there is enough information from all of these studies, from all of these trials, from all of this, until there is enough information, there actually won't be any decisions that will be taken by the Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunization. All right, until they have all of the information necessary to make the decision, that is when they will start making this decision, or make this decision as well. All right, now something else that you need to keep in mind, obviously, is that they're planning to start a booster campaign next month, right? Early as next month they're planning to start it, and nothing has been confirmed as of yet. But obviously with time, they will probably confirm it. But until then, we just have to wait on their word until they tell us what exactly they're going to be doing. All right. And now we're actually going to head into a small break. But don't worry, because I will be back after this break to talk to you more about these scam COVID tests that were there and why that's causing a lot of chaos in the United Kingdom as well. So until then, make sure you stay tuned.
Cycling in London is not child's play. How to be a better cyclist. Listen to my show, only on Relaks Radio. I'm Kevin. Join me every Thursday, 5 p.m. Look forward to seeing you.
Welcome back to the show. It's your girl Sarah right here on Relaks Radio, and we're talking about vaccines, we're talking about PCR tests, we're talking about the very latest developments in terms of COVID-19 here in the United Kingdom. All right, now earlier we were talking about if the world is running out of vaccines, and now we're going to be talking about these scam PCR tests that have caused a lot of chaos here in the United Kingdom, right? Obviously it's caused a lot of chaos because so many people spend money on getting those testing kits. So many people made sure that they made sure that they that they follow the requirements, that they follow the regulations that were in place. However, even with all of that, what has happened is that they haven't really gotten a return on their money, right? So some travelers would spend about 80 to 200 pounds on basically a PCR testing kit, and what would happen is they would either not get the PCR testing kit, their test results would be late, and they would just really take a really long time to get back to these customers, right? And obviously that's a big problem because obviously they can't go on with the rest of their journey, the rest of their visit to the United Kingdom, if they're not going to get those negative PCR tests, right? So obviously this is in fact a big problem. Now a former Labour Justice Minister and even a Labour councillor has been or rather basically they are being accused of failing to deliver kits and test results and not refunding customers, right? Which has forced a lot of these travelers to fall back on the National Health Service. Now, RT Diagnostics is in fact one of the hundreds of firms that won government approval to sell PCR tests to travelers who are planning to enter England. All right. And this was actually after ministers decided to leave provision to the private sector, and under this new system that is actually in place, that has actually drawn a wide range of criticism over allegations of poor service against several companies. All right, so to make sure that we can, to make sure we move forward, and to make sure that we actually try and compensate these compensate these travelers, actually, they have to make sure that these travelers get a refund, right? And the company has has actually spoken, when there were calls to the company that was made, they didn't pick up. But also in a statement, they said, look, you know what, we've completely issued refunds. We've made sure that people got their refunds and whatnot. However, that's not the case, because so many people on Google, on Trustpilot, and even Twitter said that they received testing kits late or not at all, and they hadn't even received refunds, right? And private PCR testing companies have actually left a trail of unhappy holidaymakers who have been complaining that the test kits or the results have in fact failed to arrive as promised. Right now, like I said, travelers tend to spend about £80 to £200 for pre-bought PCR tests that are mandatory for people, and it's also in fact twice the amount that passengers actually pay in Europe, right? So this is in fact one of the biggest problems that are currently there. All right, so make sure to stay tuned, because I will be back in a few minutes to keep talking to you about the Paralympic problem and also homophobia and violence. So until then, make sure you stay tuned, because I will be back in a few minutes.